In just over 2 weeks, Killers of the Flower Moon will debut in theaters. The film is based on a best-selling novel detailing the true story of the greed-fueled murders of dozens of Oklahoma's Osage citizens in the 1920s.
And our Alex Cameron spoke with the author before movie production even began here in Oklahoma. And one Metro family says the book gave them new understanding of their tragic tie to history.
Grandfather was an interesting man. He had morals, he had scruples.
But in 1923 in Osage County, morals and scruples were no match for the greed that stalked the Osage and anyone who got in the way.
Grandfather was called from Pawhuska to come to Oklahoma City, where George Big Heart was in the hospital.
Mel Vaughn's grandfather was respected Pawhuska attorney W.W. Vaughn. Vaughn's Osage client, George Big Heart, had been poisoned, and from his deathbed, he told Vaughn who did it. Vaughn called the Osage County Sheriff, said he had the evidence to make an arrest, and was catching the next train back.
So the train came back during the night, and when it arrived in Pawhuska, he wasn't in his berth.
And people looked for him everywhere. They sent out the bloodhounds, the Boy Scouts.
Author David Grann included the incident in his best-selling account of the Reign of Terror, a roughly 5-year stretch in the early 1920s, during which dozens of Osage citizens were murdered by white men who were trying to gain the rights to their enormous mineral wealth. Grann says the killers were ruthless, targeting entire Osage families and their allies.
And many of those who tried to capture the killers were themselves killed, and one of those was W.W. Vaughn.
Grann says it's hard to fathom the level of deceit and betrayal that characterized so many of the murders, including the Vaughn case.
And it was also one of the cases that was never really resolved.
I don't have a doubt in my mind that he was murdered.
But who did it? Susie Vaughn Settles and her cousin Mel, a professor at UCO, had done some research over the years. They knew their grandfather's body was eventually found, naked and with a broken neck, next to the tracks near Tryon, about a third of the way to Pawhuska. They knew someone had thrown him off the train. They gave Grann everything they had, hoping he could come up with the culprit.
I spent close to a year trying to follow those leads and connecting them.
The evidence, as Grann explains in the book, pointed convincingly to one person, H.G. Burt, a Pawhuska bank president who Vaughn had considered a close friend. Burt not only helped throw Vaughn off the train, according to Grann's research, he then embezzled $10,000 from Vaughn's widow. Grann says he shared all that he uncovered with Susie, Mel, and another cousin, Martha.
And she began to cry on the phone. And I felt very bad at first, thinking maybe I shouldn't have shared this with her. And she said, no, no, no. It's just that we've been living with this for so long.
Living with questions about the untimely demise of a good man.
Grandfather wasn't just some horrible accident, but was really in the midst of something terrible.
We always knew that justice would prevail, but we were so happy it prevailed right here in a best-selling book.
A book that shines a bright light on a dark chapter in Oklahoma history. Alex Cameron, Oklahoma's own News 9.
What a story. And you can watch the full interview with the author, David Grann, on our website or on our News 9 app. Killers of the Flower Moon, by the way, opens in theaters Friday, October 20th.